to the channel. It's your girl Lyssy and I'm here with my lovely Griffon. If you guys agree she's the most beautiful Griffon you guys have ever seen in the entire world, smash a like on today's video and subscribe if you guys are new here, because I post videos about the weird, the strange, the haunted, and the unusual, and if you guys are weird like me, you guys should join the family. She said subscribe or she'll be sad. Nobody wants that. So today, guys, I felt like talking about a very specific haunted doll, because you guys know I love storytelling and I love talking about weird, creepy, haunted stuff. I'm just weird. But I've always had a fascination with this one haunted doll called Robert. I have covered him a few times in the past on my channel, but I've never done a full video spilling the tea about Robert, and the tea is hot, so today I wanted to do that. So if you guys want to hear one of the stories about the most cursed haunted dolls in the entire world, and in fact the doll that did himself inspire the movie Chucky, yes, Robert the doll inspired the movie Chucky, stay tuned, grab a snack, get some water, stay hydrated, and brace yourself because this story is pretty crazy. So Robert the doll is an allegedly haunted doll exhibited in the East Martello Museum in Key West, Florida. To this day, he resides there, but he was not there all of his life, and I want to get to why. Robert was once owned by a painter, an author, and a Key West resident, Robert Eugene Otto, and he is still in Key West, Florida today, by the way. That's where the museum that he's kept in is. Also, you can visit him in this museum to this day to take visitors to see Robert, but he has a lot of curses on him that I'm going to get to in this video, and reasons why you shouldn't see him in person or take his photo, but I actually wanted to go see him, so if this video were to get 20,000 likes, I would go fly to the Key West and see this doll. So if you guys want me to go see him, I will. So the doll originally belonged to Robert Eugene Otto, who was an artist, and he was reportedly manufactured by the Stief Company in Germany, purchased by the Otto's grandfather while on a trip to Germany in 1904 and given to young Otto as a birthday gift for his birthday. The doll was wearing a sailor suit, and it was likely an outfit that Otto also wore as a child, and he is a one-of-a-kind handmade by the Stief Company in Germany, and he stands 40 inches tall. He's at least the size of a small child, so he's not tiny. I know they have like replicas of him now that are super tiny. I want to get a replica of him. I think it'd be cool. But he's huge compared to a lot of the replicas of him. He is stuffed with wood wool known as Exeler. I don't know if I said that right. His unusual size indicates that he might have been fashionized in the image of his constant companion, a boy named Robert Eugene Otto. The doll took Robert as his name, while the boy simply went by Gene. He also was holding a small stuffed lion, and he sits in a chair, so I also wanted to point that out. He has like his arms in a little chair, and he has this little stuffed lion. Don't really know why he's a sailor doll with a lion. It's kind of interesting. So this doll remained stored in the Otto family home, 534 Eaton Street in Key West. Otto ended up marrying Annette Parker in Paris on May 3rd of 1930. The couple returned to the Otto family home in Key West to live there until Otto died in 1974. His wife actually died 2 years later, and after their deaths, the doll was eventually sold. It was sold to a person named Myrtle, who owned it for 20 years. In 1994, the doll was donated to the East Martello Museum in Key West, Florida, where it became a popular tourist attraction, and hundreds of thousands of people visit this doll every single year. According to Robert's legend, this doll has supernatural abilities attached to it. Abilities that allow it to move, change its facial expressions, and even make giggling sounds. Some versions of the legend claim that a young girl gave Otto the doll as a gift for wrongdoing, actually. I don't know how true that story is. Other stories claim that the doll moved voodoo figurines around the room and was aware of what went on around him. Like he, or whatever was inside of Robert, knew about his surroundings and was fully aware. Still, other legends claim that the doll vanished after Otto's house changed ownership a number of times after his death, or that a young Otto triggered the doll's supernatural powers by blaming his childhood mishaps on the doll. According to local folklore, the doll has caused car accidents, broken bones, job loss, divorce, and a cornucopia of other misfortunes. So just a whole long legend of things that they blame the doll for. And museum visitors supposedly experience post-visit misfortunes after visiting this doll for failing to respect Robert. There's even been recent TikToks of a lady visiting Robert the doll, which I'm going to put here on the screen.
So Robert, I have been on the search for a haunted doll for months now, and I have never found one. But I feel this one is calling my name. So I'm asking and imploring you, or one of your spirits, to attach yourselves to my mini Robert so he can haunt me.
And as you guys can see clearly in this video, she goes to provoke Robert, saying, "Give me one of your spirits," and then she ends up in the hospital for provoking this doll. Because it is cursed, it does have something attached to it, and it is powerful. So this is a doll that you never want to disrespect. And there's a lot of other stories about how guests have disrespect Robert and what Robert has done back to the guests who have disrespected him.
People have been scratched, clothes have been tugged on, incidents of bad luck, disease, car crashes, lives spiral out of control.
Anyways, getting back onto the house that this doll lived lived in with its original owner growing up, there are some things I want to cover about the property. So the house that Robert lived in, where Eugene lived, is actually now called the artist house. It was here that Eugene was given Robert the doll. While he seemed like an ordinary cloth doll, it wasn't long before Robert involved in strange and terrifying events that actually took place in that artist house. The first hint was something out of the ordinary was happening one night when Gene was only 10 years old. He was super young when he had first gotten the doll. He awoke to find Robert the doll sitting at the end of his bed just staring at him. Moments later, his mother awakened by his screams for help and then sounds of furniture overturned in her son's bedroom. Gene cried for help, begging his mother to rescue him. When she was finally able to wrench the locked door open, she saw poor Gene curled up on his bed, just crying in fear over this doll. While of course the doll was sitting on the foot of this kid's bed. He would always say, "Robert did it! Robert did it!" And those were the only words he can get out when something so traumatic happened to him or something that Robert did to him and he had to tell his parents. He'd be like, "Robert did it! Robert did it!" And that's all he would say. Nobody knows for sure why or how this child's plaything could have actually had something so evil or powerful attached to it, because it was just supposed to be a toy or a gift for this kid's birthday. But it's pretty unexplainable. Gene's parents would actually often hear their son upstairs talking to the doll and getting a response back from the doll in a totally different voice, if that's not creepy enough for you guys. They also reported seeing the doll speak and witnessing his expressions on his face all of a sudden change. Giggling and sightings of Robert running up the stairs or staring out the upstairs window were also reported, and some people to this day still hope to see something connected to the house, which would be a resemblance of Robert the doll, because some people have theories that the house had some underground portal or haunting connected to it that also could have possessed this doll. Who knows? Eventually, Gene decided the doll needed a room of his own and placed him upstairs in a room that had a window overlooking the street. So that's when he was looking out the window quite often. So Annie, the wife, obviously felt uncomfortable and uneasy with Robert the doll being in the house, and although she couldn't put her finger on it, she wanted Gene to lock the doll up in the attic where he could do no more harm. Gene obviously had to make his wife happy, so he took Robert the doll, locked him in the attic, and of course, Robert did not like any of that. Soon when they had visitors come over, they would hear loud, stepping, angry footsteps in the attic where Robert was locked up, of course, because he was pissed for being locked up there. And they also claimed to hear devilish growling and giggling from the attic, which is horrifying. And neighborhood children reported seeing Robert watching them from their upstairs windows in their bedrooms, peeking out from their house. And there's been accounts of the doll actually mocking the kids as they walked to school, which is kind of funny, not gonna lie, but kind of scary. When Gene heard this, he immediately went to investigate, knowing that he had locked Robert in the attic after the kids told him that the doll was mocking them when they walked to school. He thought there was no way they could be sitting by the window of the upstairs bedroom, but to his complete shock, he actually did leave the attic and move back to the upstairs bedroom where he was mocking the kids and looking out the window. He was sitting in a rocking chair by the window. Gene ended up locking Robert back up in the attic several times, each time discovering him, then again moving back to the window in the same upstairs bedroom. Like, he was not able to keep Robert in the attic, he would just move and do his own thing. Then there was even one account of a little girl claiming that Robert had threatened to kill her. There was a new girl who moved into the Eaton Street where their 10-year-old daughter was delighted to find Robert the doll in the attic, but then she actually claimed that Robert was alive and the doll wanted to hurt her, that he had said something to her. She woke up often in the middle of the night screaming in fear and told her parents that Robert had moved about in the room. So after all that chaos that Robert had caused in that house where he was living in the artist house, it wasn't before that doll finally made his final debut and was given away as a donation to the museum because of all the chaos and things he was doing. Visitors would come from all over the world and they wanted to see if this doll was truly actually possessed. And to their surprise, a lot of the people who did mock them ended up having to go all the way back just to travel and give this doll an apology letter, when there are hundreds of these letters that are people apologizing to Robert because he did not want his photo taken. That was the #1 rule. You cannot take a photo or video of Robert without his consent because he did not like to be photographed. And so a lot of people that did take Robert's photo without asking him or being polite about it got curses on them and had their whole lives ruined by Robert. I will put some of the apology letters here on the screen. As you guys can see, he's caused car accidents, misfortunes, really bad luck, job loss, terrible things have happened to people who have disrespected this doll. Many have reported their cameras becoming inoperable even when they try to take a photo of Robert's, only to begin working again magically once they left the museum. So getting a photo of him in the first place is almost nearly impossible. So Robert the doll actually sits inside of a gigantic glass case, but it doesn't seem to stop him from messing with other people. Staff members even report that Robert's facial expression changes and they've seen it change. They've heard demonic giggling and even seen Robert put his hands up against the glass case while they were working their shifts at this museum. There's been so many accounts of things just going so wrong, and so many people have visited this doll and posted their traumatic stories about it, and someday I really want to go check it out for myself and see if Robert really is as haunted and cursed as people make him seem to be, or if he's just lonely and upset that his owner actually gave him up and locked him in the attic. Who knows? Or maybe he's linked to some voodoo magic like a lot of people claim, but his story is pretty fascinating. I cannot believe this doll inspired the Chucky movie and has caused so much chaos and mishap in people's lives. Anyways guys, comment down below, what do you guys think about Robert? Do you guys think that he's actually demonic, or do you guys think he's upset? Hey guys, it's Lyssy and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the world's 2 most cursed dolls.
His name is Robert the Doll.
Zach Baggins confronted the real-life Annabelle doll.
So when it comes to haunted objects, you think of Annabelle.
And short story short, I may or may not have a real life-sized Annabelle doll. Fun fact, I've actually covered Annabelle and Robert the doll in videos before, but you guys know I cover a ton of scary, weird, nostalgic, creepy toys, all sorts of stuff on this channel, and you guys seem to have enjoyed Annabelle and Robert so much that you guys have been begging for more, so I will deliver today, okay? Grab some popcorn, grab a snack because the tea is hot. Right, Annabelle? She might curse you guys, so drop a like if you guys don't want to get cursed by the real Annabelle, and hit the subscribe button. Another thing I want to mention is that it's very strange to me how objects or things get cursed. I always think about that, like what makes an object, you know, start off haunted and get bad enough to the point where it's one of the world's top 2 most haunted dolls or most haunted items in the entire world. And I think in our life we've all almost experienced something that was a little bit supernatural or paranormal. At least I think we've all experienced something that's almost a little bit unexplainable. Comment down below, do you guys believe in ghosts, yes or no? I'm interested in hearing why you guys do or don't, but I think after I tell these stories today, a lot of you guys might change your mind if you said no. So starting off with Robert the doll, it's actually pretty funny, but Robert the doll did inspire Child's Play, which is Chucky the doll, if you guys did not know about that. Robert is a unique doll who was first owned and named by a painter from Florida named Robert Eugene Otto. So if you guys are trying to find a Robert the doll in like a Toys R Us or something, trust me, you're not gonna find him. According to a legend, Robert the doll was given as a gift in 1903 to the young Eugene. The gift came from a woman who was a servant for Eugene's family, and this woman was sadly apparently abused and thus used the art of voodoo to get her revenge on this family. Wearing an American naval officer costume and holding a small stuffed lion, Robert initially looks rather innocent. At least from the outside, he looks like a typical sailor doll, nothing too scary. But looking closely, Robert carries a quiet wrath, and his history suggests that he could most certainly be a voodoo doll of some extent, believe it or not, even though from the outside he doesn't really look like a typical, you know, a bad doll of any sort. Eugene quickly became infatuated with Robert, even giving him his own first name and talking about Robert the doll in first person as if this doll was actually alive. And this, ladies and gentlemen, as we should have expected, is where things started to go wrong. Strange things such as furniture being knocked over, ripped up toys, etc. started happening to Eugene. Eugene was always found terrified in his room, claiming that Robert did it, and people around him would be like, no, you're just crazy, when Eugene would blame Robert for all the things going on around the house. Neighbors and friends of the Otto family also reported eventually that Robert possessed supernatural qualities. It was told that when the Otto family was absent, Robert would sometimes blink, laugh, or even roam about the house when no one else was there, which I find to be absolutely horrifying. Imagine Robert the doll just walking in the kitchen to make a sandwich. Yeah. No, that ain't happening. Often Eugene's parents heard blood-curdling cries from Eugene's room, and when they checked on their son, his faithful doll Robert was always in Eugene's bed, just sitting there with a blank emotion on his face. One day, Eugene's aunt, who was living with them at the time, suggested that Robert be locked up in their attic because he was becoming too dangerous. And that very night that she suggested to lock up Robert, that aunt died. Literally the same night she made that suggestion. Like, what? That is horrifying. While there was no proof that Robert was responsible, the Ottos decided to appease the doll by bringing him back to stay in Eugene's room. However, many years after Eugene grew older, he actually got the doll back from his parents again. He actually ended up inheriting his childhood house from his parents, and thus was reunited with his old friend Robert. Eugene resorted to his old behavior, carrying Robert around with him and giving him a place at the dinner table each and every night. When Eugene eventually passed, the house was purchased by Myrtle. As a result, Myrtle also acquired the old haunted Robert, and apparently his strange behavior never ceased down and continued to happen. They would hear footsteps and laughing from Robert's room, and Myrtle's daughter expresses that when she was young, she was viciously haunted by Robert the doll. Because I've heard a lot of stories about how like ghosts or spirits or demons, which is really creepy, whatever you believe in, do go for younger kids because it's a little bit less believable when a little kid's like, oh, I saw Slender Man standing above my bed, or, you know, a monster in my closet, because it's you know, it doesn't sound believable. The daughter even claimed that Robert the doll attempted to try to attack her, which is horrifying. That poor little child. So you guys might be wondering, where is Robert the doll now? Oh well, he's actually locked up in a cage, as he should be, as I'd say. After experiencing enough of Robert's terrors, Myrtle donated him to the Key West Fort East Martello Museum in 1994. Now anyone can actually give Robert a visit and see the haunted doll for themselves face front. There are rumors though, however, if the visitors disrespect him by forgetting to ask him permission before snapping a picture of him, he will actively put a curse on you. And this is apparently very true because there's been a lot of visitors that went to this Key West museum, took a photo of Robert without his consent, mocked him, left, and had horrible curses on them that were so bad that they actually had to go back to Robert, write him an apology, and apologize to his face and try to get rid of this so-called curse and hope that it works. So after 100 years, Robert is still getting his karma on those who wrong him. Employees of the museum claim that Robert moves overnight and has the ability to make cameras malfunction all by themselves. And to even prove that to you guys, there were a few letters that were written for Robert the doll that I'm going to read to you guys today because I found them to be so incredibly crazy how bad that he can apparently curse people. So let me read this letter that I found online that somebody wrote in apology to Robert. So this was dated March of 2010. Dear Robert, I am so very sorry for not asking your permission to take your picture while visiting the museum last week. Since I have your picture without permission, many strange things have happened to me. While driving back from the Keys, a deer ran out in front of our car. We had to swerve avoiding hitting it and ran off the road. We also almost hit a tree. 2 days later, we had a small kitchen fire, and we have been hearing childlike giggles coming from our basement. Last night, I was home all alone. I heard a voice coming from the basement. When I went to investigate, I tripped and fell down the 3 bottom stairs. I got up to run out, but the basement door was locked. My husband said that I probably turned the lock myself without even thinking about it and locked myself in the basement. But honestly, Robert, we both know the truth. Please accept my deepest apology for taking a picture without asking. Also, please accept my daughter's apology for sticking her tongue out at you and making fun of you. That is horrifying. If that all happened to that girl in coincidence, that would be some very strange coincidences. And apparently this has happened to a lot of people who went to see Robert, took his photo, and did not consent. They've all had little curses put onto them, so don't do that if you ever go visit Robert for some crazy coincidence. Time to talk about our good friend Annabelle. And you guys might be wondering, well, is that what Annabelle really looks like? Yes! In the Conjuring movies and all the other movies made about Annabelle, she kind of looks more like this, but the real Annabelle actually looks exactly like this. Fun fact, I got this Annabelle from an antique store. They are Raggedy Ann dolls. Let's just hope she doesn't curse me. Nothing crazy has happened yet, at least I don't think, with her. So I think we're good. I think we're just a couple of besties. You know what I'm saying, Annabelle? Please don't hurt me. So the story to Annabelle goes like this. In 1970, a woman purchased a Raggedy Ann doll in a secondhand store as a Christmas present for her daughter Donna. Donna kept the doll on her bed. Everything seemed quite innocent until Donna brought Annabelle to the kitchen or breakfast table where the doll straightened out her arms and put them on the table. From there, things became weirder and weirder. Soon, Donna and her roommate Angie often came home to find Annabelle on the couch where she'd been left locked in Donna's room. There were nights where Annabelle would be seen standing on her own, kneeling, pivoting on one leg, levitating, and even making droplets of blood appear. Those are only a few of her so-called demonic gifts. Also, rumor has it that Annabelle would take parchment paper and write notes. After a month of Annabelle's eerie antics, Donna decided to contact a medium. The psychic told Donna and Angie that a 7-year-old girl named Annabelle had been tragically slain on the apartment property. The child had taken the residence inside of Donna's doll that her mom gifted to her. Annabelle felt comfortable with Donna and Angie. The young nurses, already compassionate souls, decided that there was no harm in welcoming Annabelle into their home. However, that's where they were extremely wrong. Yeah, they thought maybe there was no harm about it, nothing was so bad about it, since they thought it was the soul of a little girl. Well, fun fact, it was a demon pretending to be a little girl. So things started going incredibly wrong in their house. Eventually, Donna's friend Lou got attacked by Annabelle. Lou woke up from a terrible nightmare feeling like she was choking. To this horror, Lou looked down to find Annabelle crawling up his leg. The next day, Lou was attacked by an unseen force that left 7 distinct claw marks all over his chest. That is so creepy. So after this attack on Lou happened, Donna actually asked a priest for help. Eventually, Ed and Lorraine Warren came to investigate investigate the doll themselves as well. The Warrens actually soon came to a very disturbing conclusion. They also realized Donna's doll was not possessed by a ghost of a young girl, but a demon that had its sights set on Donna's soul. The Warrens called in a priest to perform an exorcism on Annabelle. Afterwards, Donna asked the Warrens to take the doll with them. And then now to this day, Annabelle has been locked up in a cage to never be touched or messed with. And Annabelle now resides in the Warrens Museum and has been there ever since. However, there are some really creepy facts about Annabelle that I didn't know and I'm sure that you guys have not heard about, so I want to share those with you guys because I find them very interesting. So Donna would treat the Annabelle doll like a little girl, and in fact you can still see there's a bracelet on the doll's wrist to this day that nobody has ever tried to remove off the doll, because who knows what would happen if they took Donna's bracelet off of the Annabelle doll. Obviously not something good, because everybody who has tried to mess with the doll has pretty much died, so it's just not worth the risk. Also, one time a priest from Hartford once visited the Warrens' home and threw the doll across the room, proclaiming that God was more powerful than the devil. On his way back to the rectory, he got into a serious accident with a tractor trailer. The priest survived luckily, but he claimed to have seen the doll in his rearview mirror right before that crash happened. And luckily he did not die in the wreck, but Annabelle was not happy about that because she is a demon. Lorraine Warren also did not like staring at the doll because it had done a lot of bad harm to people, as she claimed. Lorraine once said that the evil attached to Annabelle needs a body to go into and won't stop until it gets a body to go into. So that's why no one messes with Annabelle, and I actually wonder how long Annabelle will stay in her cage, or if she will ever escape the cage. Anyways guys, let me know what you guys think. Do you think Annabelle and Robert the doll are the two most haunted dolls in the world? I think that they well deserve their spots at the most two haunted dolls in the world, in my opinion, and I personally would not want to come face to face with either of them. Anyways guys, thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to drop a like. It really does help the channel out a lot, and if this video gets to 20,000 likes, you guys already know the drill. I will make more videos like today's video. Also guys, be sure to leave a comment down below for a chance to win a shout out in the next video, and hit the subscribe button so we can get closer to my goal of 3 million subscribers. It's been Lyssy. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys!